Hi folks, this is Dr. Don for your Monday video. I want to go over how to use a conversion table. Now I just made an announcement in the course and gave an example of what I call a conversion table. And I say in there that I usually sketch this out onto a notepad on my desktop. The one in the announcement, a little bit fancier, I used a word table, but whatever works for you. Anyway, I want to show you how to use that. Here we are in the Posit Cloud Lab 4 workspace, and I've already opened up the remix document, student name, and I've renamed it to put my name in there, Don Wright, and I've done the same thing up top there. You should too. And I'm going to scroll on down here to question 1. Now I've got it in the visual mode. I think it's a little bit easier to see when we're on video. And I've got the outline open. I'm just going to move that a little bit. And I've clicked on Q1 to get me down to question 1. And it says we're going to be working with the World Happiness Report. Now that was something we used in Rehearse 1. And so we're still working with it. And the first chunk there is reading the data. I've already done that. Just copied and pasted in the code from CC5. And remember, run all above. If you make sure you've run everything. In this case, it's just the packages up there. I'm going to go on down here to the actual meat of the question. It says for the year 2005 only, find the correlation between perceptions of corruption and positive affect. Positive affect, you probably know, it just means, do you feel good about something? And it says create a scatter plot and what are your perceptions? So here is the code chunk, and it says see code chunk 11 in Lab 4 Rehearse 1 Part 4, copy it and paste it here, and then edit it as required. So up here I've got my standard tabs. I've got the remix, and I've got the announcement in this case, which has that example conversion table. And then I put Rehearse 1 here, moved it because that's the one we're using. And I'm down here on CC11. And just copy the code. I'm going to go back here and then paste it in. Okay. And then I always like to just go ahead and save as I go there. So we're looking at this, and it's got a lot of information in there, and that's what you need to do as an inspect. You can see we're creating this data frame called smaller_df, and we're using the World Happiness Report _data file, and that I already loaded when I created the other ran the other files up there. And so we've got to edit it. If we look at the remix instructions, it says for the year 2005 only, so we got to change the year, and we're trying to find the correlations between perceptions of corruption and positive affect. So here's where that conversion table comes in handy. And I go right there. And what I've done here in this table, the example is in CC11, and I showed you that, and I just copied in what is the data object that we're using, and it's Happiness Report data. No change there in Q1. The year variable we're changing from 2017 to 2005, and in variable 2 we're changing the freedom to make life choices variable in that example in Remix 1 to perceptions of corruption. And I carefully make sure I write down the exact spelling, spacing, underscoring, capitalization of these variable names because they're important. So we're changing freedom to make life choices for perceptions of corruption, confidence in national government for positive affect. So I'm going to go back here to my remix, and this is the one I just pasted in. And if you start reading down through there, you'll see, okay, we're not going to change smaller df. That's just whatever we want to make it. I'm going to leave it that one. And then we're going to leave it as world happiness data. We didn't change that. But I look at the year, it's got 2017. If I go back there, I can see I want it to be 2005. So I would edit that to be 2005. Just put my cursor there, backspace, and put in 05. And that completes the first line. The next thing I've got to change, if I go back here, is I've got to change every instance of freedom to make life choices to perceptions of corruption. So I go here, and this is my first script, and I can see that's where I've got freedom to make life choices. Put the cursor there. I'm just going to backspace carefully over that. You can just delete it if you know how. And then I'm going to start P, E, R. You can see it suggests up to me perceptions of corruption, and that's the one I want. And what I'm going to do here is just copy that, Control C, and then every time I see freedom to make life, freedom to make life choices, very carefully highlight it, paste in, and there's another freedom of life choices, highlight, paste in, and then down here is another freedom to make life choices, highlight, paste in. And then I do the next thing for this variable here, which is confidence in national government. Go back here, you can see that's positive affect. And so I would go here, and I'm just going to delete that this time. And capital P-O-S, positive affect, that's what I want. And that's the first one. And then copy it carefully, Control C, confidence national government, I want to replace that one, confidence national government, I want to replace that one, and then confidence natural government, I want to replace that one, and everything should be okay, so I'm going to save it and then run it, and I got an error. I can see there, it says there's an S on it. I made a typo, looks like right there. I know how I did that. So I'm going to save again, try to run it. And that time it worked. So that's what you do. Use those conversion tables, and I think they will help a lot. Hope this helps.